Deep beneath the shadow of Easter Island's towering Moai statues lies a mystery that has baffled archaeologists for over 3 centuries. Nearly 900 stone giants guard this remote Pacific island, each weighing up to 86 tons and standing as tall as a 4-story building. But here's what will shock you. Recent groundbreaking research reveals these monuments may have served a purpose so ingenious that it completely revolutionizes our understanding of Polynesian civilization. How did ancient islanders move these colossal statues across rugged terrain without wheels, large animals, or modern machinery? And why did they dedicate centuries to this monumental effort that consumed their entire society? The story begins around 1250 AD, when Polynesian voyagers, the Rapa Nui people, first set foot on one of Earth's most isolated inhabited land masses. Picture this remote volcanic island, 2,300 miles from the nearest populated land, smaller than Washington, D.C., rising from the Pacific like a forgotten world. These master navigators brought with them not just survival skills, but a sophisticated understanding of stone carving and a spiritual belief system that would birth one of humanity's greatest artistic achievements. Within 2 centuries, they had begun the most ambitious sculptural project in human history, carving their first moai from the volcanic tuff of Ranoraku quarry. The moai weren't just random sculptures. They were the living faces of the ancestors, called Aringa Ora in the Rapa Nui language. Each statue represented a deified ancestor believed to possess mana, a supernatural, spiritual power that could protect the living and ensure prosperity. These weren't decorative art pieces, but sacred vessels, designed to channel ancestral energy into the physical world. The islanders positioned most moai on ceremonial platforms called ahu around the island's perimeter, with the statues facing inland to watch over their descendants' villages and agricultural lands. Only 7 statues at Ahu Akivi face the ocean, serving as guides for travelers navigating the vast Pacific. Understanding why these statues matter requires grasping their place in Polynesian culture. Imagine medieval European cathedrals, but instead of reaching toward heaven, these monuments channeled ancestral spirits down to earth. Each ahu served as the political, religious, and social center for different clans, hosting ceremonies, funeral rites, assemblies, and harvest celebrations. The moai represented not just individual ancestors, but the accumulated wisdom and protective power of entire lineages. Their oversized heads, comprising 3/8 of each statue's total size, emphasized the importance of ancestral knowledge and spiritual authority in Rapa Nui society. For centuries, the question of how these massive statues were transported from quarry to final destination has sparked intense debate among researchers. Early European visitors heard local oral traditions, claiming the statues walked to their positions. But Western scholars dismissed this as mere folklore. Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl in 1955 theorized they were dragged on wooden rollers, requiring massive teams of workers and vast quantities of trees. American researcher William Malloy proposed giant V-shaped frames in 1970, while Czech engineer Pavel experimented with twisting motions that mimicked walking, but still relied on sleds and logs. The breakthrough came in 2012, when archaeologists Terry Hunt and Carl Lippo took a radical approach. They decided to test whether the oral traditions might be literally true. Their analysis of 62 road moai, statues that had fallen during transport and remained abandoned along ancient roadways, revealed crucial clues. These fallen giants showed damage patterns consistent with vertical falls, and their bases weren't flat like the platform statues, but curved and angled in ways that suggested they were designed for movement. Hunt and Lipo's team constructed a precise 5-ton replica of a transport Moai and achieved something remarkable. They made it walk. Using just 18 people arranged in 3 teams, 2 groups rocked the statue forward by pulling ropes attached to either side of its head, while a 3rd team controlled its stability from behind. The curved base and forward-leaning design allowed the statue to waddle forward in a motion eerily similar to a person walking, moving in a controlled side-to-side rocking motion. This method required no rollers, no sleds, and surprisingly few people, challenging long-held assumptions about Easter Island requiring massive populations for statue transport. The walking theory explains numerous archaeological puzzles. Road Moai found along transport routes have consistently different proportions than platform Moai. They're designed specifically for movement with wider bases, forward-tilted postures, and carefully calculated centers of mass. The ancient roads themselves, approximately 4.5 meters wide and extending over 25 kilometers from Rano-Raraku Quarry, are perfectly sized for walking statues rather than sliding sleds. Most compelling, this explanation aligns with centuries of oral tradition that Western science had previously ignored. The revolutionary walking experiment demonstrates the sophisticated engineering capabilities of the Rapa Nui people. They had solved a complex physics problem through careful statue design, creating monuments that were simultaneously artistic masterpieces, spiritual vessels, and ingenious transport mechanisms. The largest successfully moved statue weighed 74 tons and traveled over 5 kilometers. An extraordinary feat achieved through understanding leverage, balance, and coordinated human effort rather than brute force resource consumption. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn that completely transforms our understanding of why the Moai existed in the first place. In 2019, UCLA archaeologist Joanne Van Tilburg and soil specialist Sarah Sherwood published groundbreaking research that revealed a hidden purpose behind the statues that no one had suspected. Their excavations at Rano-Raraku Quarry uncovered evidence that fundamentally challenges everything we thought we knew about Easter Island's civilization. Van Tilburg's team discovered that the quarrying process itself was creating something unprecedented: extraordinarily fertile agricultural soil. When Rapa Nui carvers chiseled into the volcanic tuff to create Moai, they were inadvertently generating fragments of mineral-rich bedrock that mixed with eroded soil to create a perfect agricultural environment. Chemical analysis revealed soil phosphorus and calcium levels far higher than anywhere else on the island, elements crucial for plant growth and high crop yields. The quarry had become Easter Island's most productive farming area. The implications are staggering. While soil across the rest of Easter Island was being depleted and eroded, the quarrying process was continuously generating fresh, nutrient-rich earth, perfect for cultivation. Coupled with the quarry's natural freshwater source, this created an oasis of agricultural abundance in the island's harsh environment. Archaeological evidence shows the Rapa Nui were growing sweet potatoes, bananas, taro, and paper mulberry, essential crops for both nutrition and traditional Polynesian textile production, right alongside the Moai carving operations. This discovery reveals the true genius of Rapa Nui civilization. The Moai weren't just spiritual monuments or displays of political power. They were the centerpiece of an integrated system that combined religious belief, artistic achievement, and agricultural innovation. The Rapa Nui believed their ancestors possessed the spiritual power to ensure fertility and abundant harvests. And remarkably, their statue carving activities were actually accomplishing this goal. through practical agricultural enhancement. The Moai quite literally fulfilled their spiritual purpose of creating agricultural fertility. Van Tilburg's excavations revealed that many Moai at Rano Raraku were never intended for transport at all. These statues were meant to remain in the quarry permanently, their spiritual presence ensuring the continued fertility of this crucial agricultural zone. The discovery challenges the long-held assumption that all quarry statues were simply awaiting transport to coastal platforms. Instead, they formed a sacred agricultural complex where spiritual belief and practical food production merged into a single, ingenious system. The sophistication of this system becomes even more remarkable when we consider the environmental challenges facing Easter Island. Unlike fertile continental landscapes, this small volcanic island offered limited agricultural opportunities, especially as deforestation reduced soil stability. The Rapa Nui response was ingenious. They created their own fertile soil through the very process of honoring their ancestors, turning quarrying activities into agricultural enhancement while fulfilling deep spiritual needs. Modern soil analysis reveals the Rapa Nui were intuitive agricultural scientists, practicing sophisticated crop rotation and polyculture techniques that maintained soil fertility across generations. They planted multiple crops in the same areas, a practice modern agriculture recognizes as crucial for soil health. The quarry's constantly renewed mineral content from ongoing carving activities provided a steady supply of natural fertilizers, creating what soil scientist Sarah Sherwood describes as a perfect feedback system of water, natural fertilizer, and nutrients. The Moai mystery extends beyond transportation and agriculture to encompass their distinctive artistic elements. The famous red Pukao Topknots adorning some statues represent the elaborate hairstyles of Polynesian chiefs, carved from red scoria at the separate Punapau quarry. These weren't decorative additions, but powerful symbols representing the preservation of mana in the hair of important leaders. Recent research by Carl Lipo's team demonstrates these multi-ton headdresses were likely moved using parbuckling techniques, rolling them up large ramps using rope systems still employed in modern ship salvage operations. The complete Moai production system reveals unprecedented organizational sophistication. Different quarries produced different elements. Rano Raraku provided the main statue bodies from volcanic tuff, while Punapau supplied red scoria Pukao, and coastal locations contributed white coral and obsidian for eyes. Transportation networks connected these sites across the island, requiring coordinated planning, specialized craft knowledge, and sustained community effort across multiple generations. This wasn't random monument building, but systematic infrastructure development integrating spiritual, agricultural, and artistic goals. Archaeological evidence shows Moai construction peaked between 1400 and 1650 AD, with the most sophisticated statues created during the later periods. This timeline contradicts theories of early cultural collapse, instead revealing a civilization that grew more technically accomplished over time. The integration of agricultural innovation with monumental architecture suggests the Rapa Nui achieved remarkable sustainability, using their spiritual practices to enhance rather than deplete their island environment. Production ceased primarily due to European contact and introduced diseases rather than internal societal failure. The Moai represent perhaps humanity's most successful integration of spiritual belief with practical environmental management. While other civilizations built monuments that consumed resources, the Rapa Nui created sacred art that actively enhanced their landscape's productivity. Their walking statues weren't just transported monuments, but mobile symbols of a worldview that saw no separation between honoring ancestors and ensuring agricultural abundance. The quarry itself became a sacred space where spiritual power literally created the fertile soil needed for community survival. Modern Easter Island faces new challenges as climate change and rising seas threaten these ancient monuments. Recent wildfires have caused damage that experts describe as irreparable, while coastal erosion slowly claims Moai positioned near the shoreline. The Rapa Nui people, now working with international archaeologists, race to document and preserve their ancestral heritage while adapting traditional knowledge to contemporary conservation needs. Their ancestors' integration of spirituality and environmental stewardship offers powerful lessons for modern sustainability challenges. The story of Easter Island's Moai fundamentally challenges Western assumptions about ancient civilizations, indigenous knowledge, and the relationship between human culture and environmental health. Rather than the ecocide narrative that dominated previous scholarship, recent research reveals a sophisticated society that successfully sustained itself for centuries through innovative integration of spiritual practice and ecological management. The walking statues represent not societal collapse, but remarkable human ingenuity in adapting to environmental constraints while maintaining rich cultural traditions. The true mystery of Easter Island isn't how the Moai were moved or why they were built, but how a small Polynesian community achieved something unprecedented in human history. They created monuments that simultaneously served spiritual, artistic, and agricultural functions, developing transport methods that required cooperation rather than coercion, and building a sustainable relationship with their island environment that lasted for centuries. Their walking ancestors continue to guard the Pacific, testimonies to human creativity, spiritual wisdom, and the possibility of living in harmony with the natural world.